For more than 70 years, there's been this invisible giant in heavy industry, a company that works in some of the hottest, most dangerous places on the planet. That company is KT Grant. But lately, this old-school industrial pioneer has been surrounded by, well, a lot of whispers and rumors. So today, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
You probably heard the chatter, right? That the company got sold off again, that its workforce is basically gone, that the whole thing is in total turmoil. So what is really going on? Is this some story of a classic company in decline, or is there something else happening here? Let's find out.
To even begin to understand the rumors, we have to get a handle on what this company actually does. Because KT Grant's work is super specialized, it's incredibly dangerous, and it's absolutely essential to our modern world.
Okay, I want you to picture the inside of a massive steel furnace, burning at thousands of degrees. Over time, it gets totally clogged up with hardened waste. Think of it like cholesterol in an artery. KT Grant, they're the surgeons. They send in these remote-controlled robots to clean it all out. It's a job that's just way too dangerous for humans. But it's totally critical to keep our industries up and running.
And they are absolute masters of this stuff. We're not talking about some off-the-shelf robots you can just buy. No. KT Grant has a fleet of over 500 of these specialized machines. And get this, they design and build a lot of them themselves. This is some seriously high-tech, heavy-duty engineering.
And their work is vital. From the steel in our buildings, to the aluminum in our cars, to the cement under our roads, the very backbone of the global economy really depends on what KT Grant does, 24/7. And that's why the health of this company actually matters.
Which brings us to the big one, the event that really seems to be at the heart of all this confusion. A major shift in ownership. See, in 2019, after decades of being a family-owned business, KT Grant was bought by a private equity firm called Hidden Harbor Capital Partners. And that was the moment everything changed.
Now look at this timeline, because this is where the whole story starts to make sense. You've got the 2019 acquisition, right? That's followed almost immediately by a period of really intense conflict in 2020. But then, look at 2023. Something happens it seems to completely contradict all those rumors of decline. This timeline, it's the key to unlocking the truth here.
So let's just do it. Let's tackle these rumors head on, one by one, and use the facts. First up, this story that the company was sold again.
So here it is. The rumor mill got this completely backwards. In 2023, KT Grant wasn't the one being sold. They were the ones doing the buying. They were acquiring companies like Thermomax to grow their business. They're still owned by the very same private equity firm from 2019. This wasn't a sale, it was an expansion. Plain and simple.
Okay, so rumor number one is debunked. But what about that other, more troubling claim, that the workforce is finished? For that, we have to rewind to that real flashpoint on our timeline, the year 2020.
Right after the private equity guys took over, tensions just exploded between the new management and the union. It got so heated, actually, that the union started publicly accusing the company of union busting. It was a really, really nasty period.
So what was the big fight about? Well, it really boiled down to a push to change employee benefits, specifically moving people away from traditional union pensions and into 401k plans. This led to lawsuits, formal labor charges, the whole 9 yards. But here's the critical detail. This all happened in the past. By early 2021, all the legal stuff was either withdrawn or settled. The war was over. But it seems like the memory of that conflict is what's still fueling the rumors today.
So, if the sale was just a big misunderstanding and the labor war is long over, what's the company's actual condition today? Well, the numbers tell a pretty clear story.
First off, let's talk money. Its annual revenue is estimated at around $59 million. Now, to put that into perspective, before the acquisition, that number was closer to $32 million. So this isn't a company that's in decline. This is a company that's seen some pretty major growth.
And what about that workforce that was supposedly done? Well, today, KT Grant employs about 250 people. That's a solid, stable number for a company of its size and scope, and it totally flies in the face of the idea that the workforce has collapsed.
And if you need just one more piece of evidence, check this out. During the pandemic, the company got a $7.5 million PPP loan. You know, those loans to help businesses keep their employees. Well, that loan was fully forgiven, which means they proved to the government that they met the requirements for keeping their workers on the payroll during a massive crisis. So, when you put it all together, The verdict is crystal clear. The whispers of a crisis seem to be just an echo of a really turbulent but resolved past. A strategic expansion got mistaken for a desperate sale, and the memory of a bitter labor fight from years ago created this myth of a collapsed workforce. The reality today? It's a company that is stable, financially healthy, and actually growing.
And, this whole thing leaves us with a much bigger question. The story of KT Grant shows a company that went through this intense internal conflict right after it was acquired, only to come out the other side bigger and more valuable. It really makes you wonder, in the world of private equity, is this kind of painful transformation not a bug, but maybe a feature? Is going through the storm the necessary price you have to pay for growth?